What happens when Trump's youngest White House press secretary faces off against a woke reporter's public attack? Karoline Leavitt's response not only silences the room, but leaves everyone questioning their own beliefs. Prepare to be shocked. Before we continue, I have a small request for you. If you are interested in this story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch videos without subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, but it makes a big difference for us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you very much. Now let's go back to the video. In the buzzing atmosphere of a high-profile political summit, the media room was charged with energy. Reporters hustled to secure exclusive angles, their voices blending into a cacophony of debates, questions, and hurried instructions. Cameras whirred, lights gleamed, and every eye in the room seemed focused on one figure at the center of the chaos: Karoline Leavitt. Karoline, known for her unapologetic stance on truth and integrity, stood confidently at the podium. Her calm demeanor, paired with her poised articulation, had earned her a reputation as a rising star in the political arena. She wasn't just another spokesperson or leader. She was a symbol of resilience, a voice for those who felt silenced in the divisive world of modern politics. Today's press conference was meant to address recent policies, but it didn't take long for the tension to escalate. A reporter seated in the front row, a man infamous for his provocative questions and openly liberal views, raised his hand. His name was Andrew Calloway, a figure well known for his heated clashes with conservatives and for pushing boundaries with his sensationalist style. "Miss Leavitt," Andrew began, his tone dripping with feigned politeness, "given your ties to the former administration, how do you reconcile promoting unity while defending a man who, let's face it, has divided the nation?" The room fell silent. It wasn't just the question that drew attention, but the smirk that followed, as though Andrew had already won some unseen battle. His implication was clear. Karoline was guilty by association, her credibility tied to the controversies surrounding President Trump. Karoline didn't flinch. Instead, she tilted her head slightly, her expression calm but unyielding. "Mr. Calloway," she began, her voice steady, "I appreciate your question, but I'd like to clarify something before we proceed. Unity doesn't mean agreeing on everything. It means respecting differing viewpoints and finding common ground despite them. Would you agree?" Caught off guard, Andrew hesitated. "Of course," he muttered, though his expression betrayed his discomfort. Karoline continued, her words deliberate. "You've accused President Trump of dividing the nation, but let's examine the facts. Unity isn't disrupted by leadership alone. It's fractured when people refuse to engage in honest dialogue, when misinformation is weaponized to sow discord. Are you suggesting that division only stems from one side?" Andrew's smirk wavered. "I'm not here to debate philosophy," he retorted, "but to highlight that the policies you defend have alienated millions. Isn't that the real issue?" The room buzzed with murmurs. Reporters exchanged glances, sensing the tension escalating. Karoline, however, remained unshaken. "Alienation," she repeated thoughtfully, "isn't a product of policies but of the narratives we choose to believe. Mr. Calloway, you've made bold claims about President Trump, claims that I've heard echoed in your reports. Would you care to cite a specific example?" Andrew's confidence faltered. "Well," he stammered, "there's the widely accepted fact that his rhetoric—" Karoline raised a hand gently, cutting him off. "Facts are grounded in evidence, Mr. Calloway, not in what's widely accepted. If we're going to discuss division, let's ensure the conversation is rooted in truth, not assumptions or personal bias. I'll give you the floor to present your evidence." The room grew silent, the weight of her words pressing down on everyone present. Andrew, visibly flustered, fumbled with his notes. The cameras zoomed in, capturing every bead of sweat forming on his brow. Karoline's composed challenge had turned the spotlight onto him, forcing him to confront his own rhetoric. "Take your time," Karoline added, her tone devoid of mockery, instead radiating confidence. "Because if we're here to discuss unity and division, then honesty must be our foundation. Wouldn't you agree?" The stage was set. The first round of this unexpected showdown had left the audience hanging on every word, eager to see how Andrew would respond, and whether Karoline's fearless approach would lead to yet another defining moment in her career. The tension in the room was palpable. Andrew Calloway, now visibly flustered, shifted uncomfortably under the weight of Karoline's poised challenge. The silence felt deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the cameras still recording every second of this high-stakes moment. "Well," Andrew began, his voice faltering, "the fact remains that the former president's rhetoric has been seen by many as divisive, and—" Karoline gently interrupted, her tone firm but not aggressive. "Seen by many or proven? There's a difference, Mr. Calloway. You've built a narrative based on perception, not verified truth. Let me share something with you." She stepped away from the podium slightly, her gaze sweeping the room. The audience, reporters, and viewers watching from home leaned in as if drawn by an invisible force. Karoline's presence wasn't just commanding, it was magnetic. "When I entered public service, I knew it wouldn't be easy," she began, her voice steady. "I knew that standing for truth, for unity, and for the principles I believe in would often make me a target. But what I also knew, and what I know today, is that integrity doesn't waver in the face of opposition. It doesn't bow to sensationalism or half-truths, and it doesn't crumble under the weight of fear." Her words hung in the air, carrying a resonance that seemed to pull the audience into her world. "Mr. Calloway," she continued, her focus returning to the reporter, "you've accused me of defending a divisive leader. But the truth is, the division we see isn't caused by one person or one policy. It's perpetuated by the refusal to listen, to understand, and to engage in genuine discourse." Andrew opened his mouth to respond, but Karoline wasn't finished. "Let me ask you this," she said, her tone softening but still commanding attention. "When was the last time you reported a story not to prove a point but to uncover the truth? When was the last time you approached someone with whom you disagreed, not to argue, but to understand their perspective? Because unity, real unity, starts with moments like that, not with finger-pointing or perpetuating falsehoods." The room was utterly still. Even those who had come prepared to challenge her found themselves unable to look away. Karoline had taken what could have been a confrontation and turned it into a profound moment of reflection. Andrew's face flushed and his posture stiffened. I'm just asking the questions people want answers to," he said weakly, clearly grasping for footing. Karoline nodded, her expression softening just slightly. "And I respect that," she replied, surprising him. "But with the platform you have, you carry a responsibility to rise above division and seek truth. Imagine what could happen if we all took that responsibility seriously. Imagine the bridges we could build instead of the walls we create." The energy in the room shifted. Reporters who had been on the fence now scribbled notes with newfound intensity. The cameras focused in on Karoline's calm but resolute expression. The audience, both in the room and watching live, could feel the sincerity radiating from her. "And as for President Trump," she concluded, her voice steady, "agree with him or not, what he stood for was more than just policies. It was about giving a voice to those who felt unheard, a belief that every American deserves the chance to be represented. We can debate methods and choices, but we must never lose sight of the importance of truth and respect in that debate." Andrew had nothing left to say. His attempts to trap Karoline had backfired spectacularly, and it was clear to everyone in the room that he had underestimated her. Karoline offered him a small, almost sympathetic smile before addressing the room one final time. "Unity isn't about being the loudest voice or the most aggressive advocate. It's about showing up, speaking truth, and standing firm in your convictions while respecting those who may not share them. That's the kind of leadership I believe in, and that's what I'll continue to stand for, no matter how uncomfortable it makes others." As she stepped away from the podium, the room erupted into applause. Even those who didn't align with her politically couldn't help but admire her grace, poise, and unshakable resolve. Andrew remained seated, his head slightly bowed, as Karoline walked past him. That moment didn't just mark the end of a press conference. It became a defining chapter in Karoline's career. Clips of her calm yet powerful rebuttal went viral, sparking conversations across the nation. And as millions watched, they saw more than a political figure. They saw a leader unafraid to defend her principles with truth, integrity, and courage. In the days that followed, the story became about more than Karoline versus Andrew. It became a reminder of what leadership could look like in a world so often divided. A reminder that even in the face of hostility, truth and grace still have the power to inspire. Thank you for watching till the end video. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, don't hesitate to like the video and share it with your friends too. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more fascinating stories.